In order to add a custom domain to Volume, first of all, you need to have externally hosted domain that you own. The domain providers can be, for example, Cloudflare, Namecheap, Hostinger, or any other that suits you. There, you need to create your own domain, for example, fantasticdomain.com. Then, you need to create a subdomain for this domain that will be used inside Volume for tracking purposes. The subdomain is up to you. You can use track fantasticdomain.com, see, my. The subdomain is totally up to you. You can use whatever suits you. Once the subdomain is created, you need to go to your Volume account, select Settings, and go to the Domains tab. Here, in the Custom Domains section, you can add your custom domain. Please keep in mind what is your limit for custom domains. Click Add Custom Domain and proceed as described in the pop-up window. I will use myfantasticdomain.com. Please note that you cannot use here any additional letters like empty spaces or protocols, because then you will see that the domain is invalid. Use just your subdomain plus the main domain. Save and process. Once the domain is processed by Volume, you can follow the instructions that you will find in the Learn More section. You can also just follow the short manual that we have right here in the window. So you need to go to your domain provider and you need to create actually two CNAMEs for your custom domain. So first of all, you need to create a CNAME record, connect the name of your domain with the domain record value. Usually it will be enough to copy both values, but sometimes domain providers add this part automatically to your record, so you should only use the subdomain. Otherwise, if you will copy the whole thing and your domain provider will add something else, your custom domain will look like this, and this is not what we want to do. So if you will be facing any errors, try using just a subdomain. Once the first record is added, you can proceed with adding the certificate record name so you can have safe tracking with the SSL protocol. And you are doing basically the same thing. Copy the certificate record name provided in the name field, indicate that the record type should be CNAME, and the value or the target certificate record value, copy it and save it in the correct field on the domain provider's end. So basically, with my current setup, I should do it like this. My domain provider, CNAME, this is name, this is value, and the second CNAME, name, value. Once again, pay attention to the naming. It also can be host and, for example, target. Also, in the case of any problems, first of all, try to remove the core of your domain. Usually it should help. Once you have both scenarios created, you can click Done, and here you can track the progress of your domain's propagation. Please be aware that in order to be able to use your custom domain for tracking, both CNAMEs need to be correctly propagated. So we need to have the certificate status issued, and we need to have the domain status connected. If you will be facing any problems with the validation of your domain, please go to our documentation, check our document about adding a custom domain, and here you can check the statuses and what exactly they mean for the certificate and for the domain. I also encourage you to have a look at the adding a custom domain section, because here you can find more in detail setups for the most popular domain providers. The setup for some of them is explained in the next part of the video. I also encourage you to get familiar with the dnschecker.org website, where you can check the propagation of your custom domain. In order to check if your domain is propagated, select CNAME, go to the setup of your custom domain, copy the first record, paste it here, and click Enter. Once the domain will be propagated, you will see that the status is resolved. You can do the same for the certificate record name. Copy, paste it, select CNAME, search, and check if your domain is fully propagated. Only when on all of the servers the status will be resolved, your domain will be ready for tracking, and Voluum will show that the certificate is issued and that the custom domain is connected.
Hello guys, today I will show you how to properly CNAME record your custom tracking domain in Volume for Cloudflare. What you will need is access to your Volume panel, access to your Cloudflare panel, and dnschecker.org is a useful tool to check if everything goes smoothly. So first thing we go is to Settings, bottom left, and then we go to Domains inside Volume. I have my domain within Cloudflare, which is called testingtest.uk. So I'm opening it, and then I'm going to my DNS records. What I will have to do is to create a subdomain for this domain. So I'm copying this whole string and I'm going to Volume. As you can see, I have already one configured, but I'll do it from the scratch to show you how to do it properly. I'm hitting Add Custom Domain and I'm pasting my whole domain, but I need to create prefix for the tracking purposes. So I will use tracking2.testingtest.uk. I'm copying this whole string and I'm hitting Save and Process. After a few seconds, Volume will generate two records which I need to set up on Cloudflare side. First thing first is my subdomain, exactly the same way I have created it, and we have the first record to set up. So I'm going to my Cloudflare, I'm in my DNS records, and I'm hitting Add Record. Then the type is CNAME, my name is tracking2, the same I set up on Volume side, tracking2, and then I need my target, which is actually my domain record value. So I copy the whole thing, I paste it as a target. Very important thing, I disable the proxy status for this and the TTL 1 minute. The shortest, the better. I'm hitting Save. My record appeared in here. So what I can do, I can check it out now on dnschecker.org. So I'm going to dnschecker.org and I copy the whole string from Volume. I paste it in here and I choose the CNAME value and I hit search. As you can see, it's already propagated on all servers. This is very good because we can move forward to the next step. We're copying the whole value from the certificate record name, and inside Cloudflare, I'm adding a new record. Type CNAME again, name the whole string from Volume, and then again switch certificate record value, copy, paste, disable proxy, TTL 1 minute, and I'm hitting save. How can I verify it? If it's propagated, same way as previous, switching back to Volume, copying this whole value, dnschecker.org, pasting the value, CNAME, search. As I can see, it's also already propagated nicely. So I'm getting back to volume and I'm hitting done. What I can see for this record, the certificate status is still pending. This is fine. It may take up to 24 hours. Whenever the certificate is issued, also the domain status needs to propagate properly, and once it connects, it will be marked with connected, and you will also receive an email notification from Voluum that your new tracking domain is ready to be used. And that's all. Thank you for your attention today. Take care. Bye bye. Hello. Today I would like to show you how to properly configure your custom tracking domain inside Voluum with GoDaddy panel. What we'll need is Volume panel, our GoDaddy domain management panel, and a dnschecker.org is a very helpful tool to verify if our configuration is correct. So first thing first, inside our Volume panel, we're heading to our settings, and then we go to the domains tab. Here you can see I can add my custom domain, and first thing first, Volume will ask me for my subdomain for the tracking purposes, or simply we need to create a prefix of our own domain. So in my GoDaddy panel, I go to my domains and DNS management, and I choose the domain I wish to manage. In my case, it's a dummy testing domain called abcdef.quest. So what I will do, I will open my notepad and I will save my main domain, and the subdomain for the tracking purposes I wish to use would be test.abcdef.quest. So I copy this whole string, I go to Volume, provide my subdomain for the tracking purposes, and I hit save and process. After a few seconds, Volume will give us two CNAME records we need to configure. It's the first one, and here we have the second one. How do we do it? First, we need to set up CNAME record for this test prefix. So I'm going to my GoDaddy panel and I add a new record. First, type is the CNAME, then name is the exact prefix I did here, so it's simply a test, and my value is coming from Volume domain record value. So I copy this is the CloudFront part, I paste it here, and I set up TTL to the lowest option possible, and I hit save. Updating, and the first CNAME record is already predefined. Now I need to set up the second one, so I hit add new record, and here is the tricky part. If I copy this whole certificate record name, you can see that it looks something like this, and it already contains our main domain and the prefix. So it's all included in here. What we need is we need to take only the prefix, as we did in the previous setup as well. We again choose the CNAME record. The name is the whole prefix without the main domain. And then for value, again, we copy the whole string from Volume and we paste it in here. Again, TTL, the lowest possible, and I hit save. Updating DNS records, and I can see that both test and prefix test are already set up. How to verify it using DNS checker? Quite easy. We switch back to Volume, we can hit done in here, and as you can see, both certificates and status are waiting. Now we're waiting for the DNS records to propagate properly, but anytime I can hit this edit pencil and I can copy this whole value, go to the dnschecker.org, paste the whole string, choose the CNAME record and hit search. And as you can see already by this green tick mark, my my custom tracking domain is pointing to the value provided by Volume. It's a CloudFront certificate. So it's exactly what it should be done. Now I can do the same with this certificate record name. I can copy the whole string this time. I can paste it in the DNS checker. Again, CNAME, I hit search, and it should be pointing to validations.aws. And as you can see, it's already marked with green. So if I now hit done, and if I refresh the whole page, the certificate is already issued. And for the domain status, we need to wait a little bit more for all the servers to propagate this DNS settings. After it's ready to use, you'll receive an email notification to your address provided for the Volume subscription. That's all. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello. Today I'd like to show you how to properly set up custom tracking domain inside Volume for your tracking activities in 3 simple steps. So, things I will need is log into my Volume panel, I need to log into my domain provider panel, and also a useful tool to see if everything went well is the dnschecker.org. So, the first step is to go to Volume settings and Domains tab. As you can see, inside Hostinger, if I go to my domains, I have the domain called volumetest.com. I can manage this domain, and I need to go to my DNS name servers tab. Here I can set up the necessary CNAME record for the domain. So inside Volume, I hit Add Custom Domain, and I need to choose any prefix for this domain. Let's do test.volumetest.com. I hit Save and Process, and we need to wait a few seconds for Volume to give us the necessary data. After a few seconds, it's loaded, and we can see that we need to set up 2 records. So let's do with the first one. I copy this whole value, and I go to my Hostinger. I choose the DNS record to CNAME, as mentioned within our panel. I provide the name, which is test.volumetest.com, and target I also copy from Volume from my first row. So I copy it and paste it in here. I may also change the TTL to the lowest possible value. Hostinger allows the lowest of 60 milliseconds, and I hit Add Record. And if I look it up, I can see it's already here, and it's the CNAME pointing to the value provided by Volume. So I need to do the second thing. I again copy this record name, change the type to CNAME, paste the whole value, get back to Volume, copy the second part, paste it as a target, and again switch TTL to 60. Add record. How can I verify if they were properly propagated among DNS servers? Easily. I go to the dnschecker.org, and I can test those values. So I copy the first row, paste it here, change to CNAME, and hit search. I can see that it's clearly pointing to our target from Hostinger. It's already propagated. Then I can copy the second value as well, paste it, and again hit search. And I can also see that for some servers it's already propagated, for some not yet. We'll have to wait a bit. It may take up to 24 hours on the domain provider side to propagate it properly on all servers. So I can now hit done, and I can see that the certificate is now pending. The third step I need to do is to look up if there is a CAA record pointing to one of our 4 dedicated endpoints, which are amazon.com, amazontrust.com, avstrust.com, or amazonavs.com. If there's nothing, as I can see I have this amazon.com, I can add it manually as well. How to do it properly? I change the type to CAA. As the name, I leave it blank with this @ sign. Then my flag should be 0, tag should be issue, and CA domain should be, for example, Amazon.com. We can leave the TTL as the default value, and I hit add record. In my case, it shouldn't work because it's already added on Hostinger, and I can see that there is a conflict because this certificate already exists. So I can get back to Volume, and if I refresh my domains tab, real soon the certificate should be added by our provider. That's all. Thank you for your time and take care. Hello, today I'd like to show you how to properly connect Volume with your Namecheap custom tracking domain. What you need to is access to your Volume panel, access to your Namecheap, and we'll use DNS checker to see if the configuration is correct. So first thing first, we head to the settings, and then we need to look at the domains section. In here, I need to hit an add custom domain value, and I switch back to my Namecheap, where I go to my dashboard, then I go to my domain list, and once I choose a certain domain for the tracking purposes, I hit the manage button. What I do is I copy this whole domain value, and inside Volume, we need to set up a tracking prefix for it. I'll go for the value test2.mydomain name, and I simply hit save and process. We wait a few seconds within Volume panel, and then we get 2 records we need to set up. So first thing first, we need to set up CNAME record for this target and then for the second one. How I do it? I go to Namecheap, and I'll do the easier one first. I go to Advanced DNS, and I hit Add New Record. From the drop-down list, I choose the CNAME value. Then my host is the prefix I set up on Volume, which is test2, and the value is this value from Volume. So I copy the whole part and paste it in here. TTL, the lower, the better. So I save it for 1 minute, and I save my changes. What I need to do is to set up the second value. So I copy this whole part, I open a notepad and paste it in here. What I need to do, I need to copy everything together with the prefix, but I need to skip this whole domain. So I choose this prefix together with my test2, copy it, add a new record, CNAME, paste it as a host, and then again, target is the whole value from Volume. So I copy paste it in here. TTL, 1 minute, save. What I can do is I can test if it works properly by simply copying the first value from Volume, go to dnschecker.org, paste it in here, choose the CNAME record, and hit search. It's not yet propagated, so we need to wait a few more minutes for Namecheap to utilize the data. Once it's correct, it should be pointing to this exact value. I can also do the same with the second value, paste it in here, choose CNAME, and hit search. As you can see, the second part is already propagated correctly among almost all servers. So let's see what happens with this value, if it's already here or not. I paste it and I hit search, and I can see that it's already being propagated to some of the servers. Please note it might take up even to 24 hours for the domain provider to propagate all the data. Once all the servers accept the changes, also you can see that on our side the certificate status is already issued, and we are waiting for the domain setup to be live. And that's all. Thank you very much and take care. Hello, today I'd like to show you how to properly configure a custom tracking domain with Volume and name.com. First of all, inside Volume panel, I head to the top left settings button and I need to look at my domain tab. Once I'm in here, I'm hitting Add Custom Domain, and now I need to switch to my name.com panel to prepare it. So I'm going to name.com, I'm going to My Domain section, and once I choose domain I wish to use, I hit three buttons under the Manage and choose Manage DNS Records. I open this whole panel, and here you can see I can create some additional DNS settings. So I take the whole domain name and I need to create a prefix for this. So let's do testing. So I use my testing domain, I switch back to Volume and I provide this whole string. I hit Save and Process, and after a few seconds, Volume will return 2 rows of data we need to pre-configure on name.com. So I copy this whole prefix, which is already in my notepad, and I go to name.com. First, I need to choose the type of a record. It's a CNAME, and my host is exactly what Volume provided for me. What we need to take care of is here. Name.com already provided the main domain value. So we only take that prefix and paste it as our host. So the whole host is testing.mydomain address. What is the answer? It's the second value from Volume panel. So I copy this corresponding value and I paste it as the answer and simply hit Add Record. Now I need to set up the second one, which is also the CNAME. So again, switching back to Volume, copying this whole value. And as you can see, it also contains some prefix and the main domain. As the main domain is already provided, I'm only copying the prefix part. So up to the testing. I copy it and paste it in here. And then as my answer, I once again head back to Volume, copy the whole value, and paste it as an answer. You need to look up, there is a dot at the very end, which might cause a problem. So let's test it. I'm hitting Add Record. It tells invalid entry. So what I need to do is to simply remove the dot from the end because name.com will most probably do it itself. So once again, Add Record. And as you can see, it's already added in here. Now, how can we verify if it works correctly and if it propagated? I copy this whole domain record name, the first one, and I go to my dnschecker.org. I choose the CNAME record and I paste it into our search bar. When I hit search, it looks up the values for me. And as you can see, for most of the servers, it's already propagated. Normally, it takes up to 24 hours on the domain provider's name to propagate the data, but it might be also faster. So we need to check up the second value. Once again, I copy the whole value from the first part and I paste it into DNS checker. Again, CNAME is what we are looking for. So I hit search and I can see that again, it's already propagated on most of the servers. If I now hit done on my Volume panel, you can see that the certificate is already issued and we are waiting for all the servers to propagate the data. So once it's verified, we can start using our new tracking domain. Thanks and have a good day. Bye-bye.